What's up, everyone? Kyle Kirschbaum here. Excited to jump into our subject of enrolling influencers, connecting, working with influencers, and bringing them into your business. I think the best way to really approach teaching you about this is to share notes from a podcast that one of my friends did, who is a generic network marketing trainer, about the subject of, he called it recruiting influencers. But the reason why I'm going to share it with you is because the data, the statistics that he did research on and shared really opened my mind to how much opportunity exists for you and I in this arena. And so what he did was he took and found 500 influencers, not in the network marketing industry. So these are 500 influencers that had followers between had at least 10,000. Some of them had 2 or 3 million followers. And he asked them a series of questions. And the reason why he took 500 is because if he would have only taken 10, it's kind of the principle of big data. So when you're doing surveys or you're trying to find, statistics, if you were to just flip 10 quarters, there's a possibility that, miraculously you could get, heads to show up for all 10. But if you do that with 50, it's less likely. If you do it with 100, less likely. If you do it with 500, it starts to go away, and you start to get like real consistent data that you can build something on. So he chose to take 500. These people are not in the network marketing industry, and they did have influence between 10,000 and 2 or 3 million, some of them. And he went through and asked a series of questions to them to find out basically if they would be willing, the percentage of them that would be willing to accept in a sample, look at the business, or become a customer. And so I want to share with you what he found. I think it's going to surprise you, and I think you are going to get excited about understanding that you can start taking action on this right away, and it can possibly dramatically change your business or be something that can really create momentum for you. So the first question he asked them was, what percentage of them were profitable in their business, in their, as an influencer? And 92% said that they were not profitable or negative. So that doesn't mean that they didn't make money. It just means that after they paid their staff or apps or management software or cameras or tickets that they bought to fly to wherever it was for a photo shoot or whatever it was, they were negative or break even. So when you see people who have influence, the likelihood of them actually making money, or profiting from it, right, is 92% of them. 92% of the 9 million applying that big data are not making money or are negative, okay? And the other 8% are making some money, in varying different degrees. So I thought that was really, really huge because we have a solution for that, right? But we have to continue kind of down this path. The other thing he asked was what percentage of them were happy with their progress and were happy with, the money that they were earning. Obviously, 80% of them were not happy, were frustrated, felt a little bit burned out, were not happy about their progress. So these are huge things to know. 92% not making money, 80% of them really not, happy with their progress. Maybe that difference, the 12%, they were just happy doing it because they just loved to do it and they didn't care about the money. So I thought those were two really key important things. The next question he asked, so I think number 3 we're on, was what percentage of the 500 influencers would respond to just a DM, right? No, a direct message, for those of you who didn't know what that is. Just a message on Facebook Messenger or Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is. And let's see here. So 26% of them said they would be okay with that. They would actually look at it if it was a well-crafted direct message. 74%, no surprise, said that they were too busy, wouldn't even look at it, wouldn't even consider it. And 100% of them said if it was like a spam type written message, none of them would apply, or respond. So, but that's pretty amazing. Even the 26%, right, would still be open or at least look at it. But we want to increase those numbers. So if you are the type of person that's just going to direct message people, just know that you're going to have to direct message a lot more people than than normal because you're only dealing with the 26%. But there's a better way to do it, right? We can always make this better. And I believe in doTERRA, we want to make it better. We want to really build relationships, and that is one of the key things. So how would you like to be approached is the next question that he asked this group of 500 influencers. And the principle that comes up with this is a principle taught by a lot of online marketers, and that is the principle of creating a dream list, right? Sometimes we call it a diamond list in doTERRA. And so what that means is that outside of network marketing or doTERRA, this principle is used when somebody wants to launch a book, or they want to, let's take the example of launching a book, and you have a book that you want to launch that is in the niche of health and wellness, right? So the principle is that you make a list of 100 influencers across 5 or 6 different platforms: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it is, that you know align with your book, right? That have an audience that would love the book. And then you build relationships with those 100 people, and then you know, to the point where they're willing to promote the book, right? So we're going to take a little bit different approach. The principle works, but we're going to take an easier approach. I want us just to create our dream 5, or our diamond 5, we can call it. And so your assignment from this whole thing that we're learning right now is for you to identify 5 influencers that align with your core message or niche. You know, one of the beautiful things about doTERRA is that we're all different. Some of us are moms that are building this, right? And you speak to mompreneurs. Some of us are yoga teachers. Some of us are chiropractors. Some of us are, some of us are men, doing this business. And so each of us has kind of a different, unique niche. And I want you to identify 5 influencers that match your niche, right? And you can find all of those if you want on Instagram or Facebook or bloggers or Twitter, wherever you kind of show up. You can find those 5 people. Maybe they're podcasters even. So what you're going to do is this. You are going to become their top fan, not in a creepy way, but you're going to become their top fan by doing the following. And this is why it's so, so important to understand everything that we do offline to build relationships with people, we also have to do online, but it's just done in a little bit different fashion. We have some cool tools to help us do that. So when you see, and you might do this once or twice a week, when you see one of your dream 5 or your diamond 5 post, you're going to comment, you're going to like it, and you're going to comment. If you see them do a Facebook Live, you're going to like it, and you're going to leave a great comment. If they do a podcast, you're going to like and comment. If they do a Facebook story, you're going to like and comment. If they do an Instagram story, you're going to like, you're going to give them a compliment, right? You're going to tell them thank you. You're going to show up. And the reason why is this, and I promise that if you are an influencer watching this and you're going through the training right now, and you don't even have to be an influencer, all of us who are on social media, I know the people that consistently comment and like the stuff that I post. We all do. We all pay attention to it. Influencers, people who have thousands of fans, they know too. So what you want to do is you want to become one of those people that they recognize, that they can say, oh man, Kyle's always liking and leaving me amazing compliments or comments on the stuff that I'm posting about, right? So you have to become their top fan. Once you become their top fan, here's the really, really important thing. So he asked the question, if one of your top fans reached out to you and said, hey, thanks for all you do, and just left you a compliment, and, would you reply? And all of them said yes. They would all reply. They would all say thank you. They would all reciprocate that compliment. And then he asked, if one of your top fans reached out and said, hey, I'm just curious, would you be open to checking out a product that I know that you would love? 80% of them said yes, they would accept a sample. 80% of the 500 that you built a relationship with, right? That's crazy. That's amazing. And I have actually seen that firsthand in people in our organization who have shared samples with influencers who accepted those samples. So 80%, okay? The second thing is, in another way to phrase it, would you be open to, so of those 80% who said they would accept a sample, what percentage would you be open to doing a story or a news feed post if I sent you the product, right? So you send the product and they do a post or something about it. The majority of them said yes, okay? 50% of them said if they liked the product, they would do a post or they would do an Instagram story or Facebook story about it. So that's 250 of the 500 influencers that were in this study. That's amazing to think about, right? It's amazing to think about that when you put in the time to become we'll call it a genuine fan, right? Top fan, genuine fan, you build that relationship. That's what the response would be. So now here's the next question. I think we're like on question 6. We'll just call it question next. What if one of your top fans reached out to you and asked if you'd be open to making some money with your influence, right? What if would you be open to making some money with your influence? 78% said yes to monetizing their influence, okay? The other 22% maybe were already making money is kind of what he talked about. So that's 78% of the 9 million influencers if you become a top fan and you build that influence with them. So what he did was he went back and kind of created a series of different questions around the idea of, would you be open to learning how to, make money from your influence? And the top questions, the question that the influencers responded to the most were these questions, if you're wondering. So the most popular question was, do you monetize your influence? 92% said no. Would you be open to checking out some information on how you could monetize your audience? Okay, that was another one of the popular questions. Another popular question was, would you be open to checking out some information on an additional income stream to monetize your influence or audience if it complemented your audience, right? I think in doTERRA sometimes we hear the word monetize, we hear these, real businessy terms, and we would kind of want to we want to round them out and give them some love and whatever it is. I would, however you want to phrase that. I'm going to repeat those because maybe you're kind of scrambling to try to write them down and I'm speaking a little bit fast. So I'm going to say them again. Do you monetize your influence? 92% said no. Would you be open to checking out some information on how you could monetize your audience if it complemented and served your audience? Another way, would you be open to checking out some information on an additional income stream to monetize your audience, your influence or audience? And we could reword those, right, to make them a little bit more doTERRA. Would you be open to checking out some information on an additional income stream that would serve your clients and help them achieve better health and also help you monetize your influence so that you could have more freedom or more time, right? So you can play with those a little bit, right, till you find something. But the point is that 92% of them said no, and the vast majority would be open to doing that. So the point that I want to make in kind of finishing this up, and I hope that you found this valuable. For me, it was extremely valuable. And I just want you to understand that there are so many influencers out there that you think are making money that are not making money, that are frustrated, that would be very open if somebody really built a relationship with them over the course of 1 or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, to become a top fan and then ask one of these questions. So my assignment to you is to comment, like and comment, compliment. Instagram stories, Facebook stories is a place where even influencers respond to things very quickly. So using those to comment with people to build relationships for a week or two. Maybe you set a timer and you go onto Facebook or Instagram for 15 minutes every day, or you do it for an hour once a week, and you build those relationships. But I will tell you this, and he made this point, and I know that it's a valid point, and I'm going to give you an example to prove this point. Most influencers are not going to reach out to you and going to say, hey, I saw Facebook Live you did, and I have 200,000 followers, and I just am so excited to sign up for your business, for doTERRA, and I was just wondering, when I could sign up. That's not going to happen, right? You have to be the instigator. You have to come up with your top 5. You have to do the actions of building those relationships and making the invitations. So, in closing, I'm going to give you an example to prove this point. I think it's probably been 6, 7 years now. 6, 7 years ago, Julie Hinton, who is in our organization, our sister in law, she was starting her business and she wanted to build relationships with influencers. So she started building relationships with influencers, just like I'm talking to you about today. And Julie reached out to a number of different influencers. One of the people that she reached out to was this nutritionist in Canada named Ange Peters. And she sent her a gift package. I probably asked her a very similar question. Ange accepted the gift package, put it on the shelf. I don't think really did much with it. We later on, Julie, as she followed up and nurtured that relationship and continued to be her top fan. I think this is key. She continued to be her top fan even when Ange didn't open up the oils and start posting about him or anything like that. She still engaged with her, which showed authenticity in that relationship. A little while later, we did a 3-way call with Ange and Julie and Kirsten, I think, my wife, and then a little time after that, Angie could probably tell this story a little bit better, or Julie. There was a few moments or things that kind of came together where she realized that this is something she wanted to integrate. She had those experiences herself and really authentically wanted to build a business with doTERRA. She saw how it could benefit her influence or her audience. Now, today, Julie is a diamond in doTERRA with her husband Colin. Ange Peters is, I think she's a double presidential or a presidential double diamond in doTERRA, and has an incredible organization in Canada and has blessed so many people's lives, right? And I was thinking about, as I was preparing for this whole thing that we're teaching right now about enrolling influencers, I thought to myself, what if Julie wouldn't have been the instigator, right? What if she would have waited for Ange to reach out to her? Probably would have never happened. Probably would have been a lot longer. Probably would have been a totally different outcome, right? Who knows? But I know Julie is super grateful, both from, a relationship and impact standpoint and how it's impacted her business as well. And so I think it's such a great example, all of those examples. And I give this example, and I would say it's an extreme success story, but what I think is important is that you understand the principles that we're teaching here. Take the principles, find your Diamond 5 on social media, right? These influencers, build relationships with them, add value to them, genuinely create authentic relationships that ask the questions that we've talked about in this little training that we've done, and be patient in that process. And I promise that as you do that and you take action and you apply, the manifesting principles that you have in your business, that miraculous things can take place over time. But it is up to you. You have to take action. So I hope that you have found value in just this little lesson and understanding that we didn't talk about today how to create graphics. We didn't talk about creating shortcuts or any of the link trees or any of that stuff that overwhelms and can complicate things. We simply talked about starting from where you're at and building relationships with people through social media and asking really important questions. Now, I will tell you that if you need to do a little makeover on your personal profile, Facebook or Instagram, then you should do that. You should have a nice picture of just you so that they're not guessing if it's you or your friend or your husband or what's their name. You should have and be posting stuff that speaks to the same things that align with what the influencer is speaking to authentically, right? Those should be the things that you should be talking about. You should have a clear description of who you are and what your mission is and who you're going to serve. If you have the ability and you feel inspired to have the little shortcuts that show up on Instagram, about your story or about why you love oils or about your team or whatever it is, then those things are awesome too. But at least have a professional picture of yourself that's just you, right? Have a description that talks about who you serve, what you're all about, and at least post content that is professional, that shares the most authentic professional version of yourself. Don't get wrapped up in if it looks pretty or that is a rabbit hole that all of us can go into. Just post who you are authentically, be your professional authentic self, and do the things that we've talked about today. So anyway, excited to be here, excited for what's going to come as you apply this training. Have an amazing rest of the training that you're going to go through, and I look forward to seeing your success along this journey. Talk to you soon.